before we start, this is what you need. You need some black fabric. I got this at Walmart for about $2. You want to make sure you can see through it, or else you won't be able to look through your mask. I got this acrylic paint for $1, 50 cents a tube at Walmart. I used bright red for the rosy cheeks and wild grapes for the stripes going down the eyes. A writing utensil, like a pencil or something, because whenever you sketch it, you want to be able to erase it in case if you make a mistake. So do not use a Sharpie marker, or else it'll be on there forever and it'll look bad, unless if you paint over it. A $2 hockey mask. It's pretty cheap. Just like whenever it's Halloween, just go to your dollar store and it'll be there. Some rollers. You want to get the measurements right, and always some reference. You could just go look at a picture on your phone or something. And if you can't get your hands on the crazy cheap acrylic paint, you could always just use some Sharpie markers. But like my Jason mask last year, it won't look as good if you use Sharpie markers, but that's always an option. One thing I did not mention before, you need some snips and some files, just anything that can cut through the plastic. Some adhesive. It doesn't really matter what it is as long as it could stick to fabric and plastic. Yeah, and the Marionette does not have these 3 holes on the forehead, so what you could do is use your resources. Like last year I made I obviously messed up on making the Jason mask, so I cut out some of the plastic and now I'm going to glue it like right there. And I'm not picky about those 3 holes, but if you are, you could just get some white glue or something and then paint over. But then the shade of white wouldn't match, so then you might need to change the whole mask. But I'm just doing this. Okay, now the first official step is to trace or draw the details onto the mask, which is the eyes, the stripes, the red rosy cheeks, and the mouth. And if you want to do the lips, I'm not sure if I'm going to do them myself. Maybe whenever I get the acrylic paint already on, I might add on the lips. But you want to get your ruler and just trace down for the eyes, the stripes on the eyes, to make sure it's a straight line. But whenever you do this, you want to make sure that it's the same measurement. So whenever you trace one and whenever you're happy with it, go take that measurement and then go on your other side and then mark it. And then just trace it in. Just draw it on. And don't worry, it does not need to look perfect because we're going to add the paint and it'll look awesome later. Just glue this piece in to cover up, these 3 holes here, if your mask has that. But if you don't have an extra mask that you messed up on, you could always just use this material because we're going to be cutting this out. So just cut out like a little circle like this and then just put it on the other side and just glue it in with hot glue or something. Thing worth mentioning is that the marionette's or the puppet's eyes are actually an optical illusion, meaning whenever it's looking at you directly, it just looks normal. But whenever it's looking at you like an angle like this, it looks mad, like it's, angry. You could do this shape if you wanted to, but I'm just doing the triangle ends just to make it nice and simple. Just another tip when drawing your mask, the rosy cheeks that are in between the mouth and the eyes, the red rosy cheeks, they're actually bigger than the eyes. So, they're not small. So what you want to do, just get a piece of paper, measure it, and make sure it's about 1 3/4 diameter in length. Then just go on your mask and then trace it out. But you want 1 centimeter away from the, about 1 centimeter away from the eyes and the mouth, if you want it to be game accurate. Okay, time for the fun part. What you're going to do, you're going to get your snips or something strong enough to cut plastic, and you're just going to go and you're just going to cut out your outline of the eyes, if you have an outline for the eyes. It's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. But just go and just clean up the rough edges with a file or sandpaper or something. It's really easy. Once you're finished filing down the eyes, you could start cutting out the mouth. Now, this may be difficult to some people, but I mean, so here's an easy way to explain it. Use these holes, alright? Just go in and then cut. Just go and just try to cut it out. And then pretty much just like keep connecting them, like you could get massive chunks out by using the holes here. And just by, you know, just by trying to crack the plastic. And of course, whenever you're done cutting it out and getting it as close to the line as you can, just get a file and clean it up just like you did with the eyes. We're almost done. What you need now, you need your paint, a paintbrush, a cup of water, and some napkins, and sandpaper or sanding block. Now, just sand in the places you're going to paint. I didn't get this on camera, but you want to sand the rosy cheeks and the stripes, because it'll help the paint stick onto the mask, and it'll reduce the chance of it cracking. And then what you want to do, you want to get I recommend using the smaller one first and then just going around the circle. Just going around the circle and kind of just fill it in as you go, then use the bigger one to fill the inside, just so you get a cleaner shape instead of paint just kind of splattered on. And then after that, just clean your brush. After that, wait and put a couple of layers on so it looks really thick. Clean your brushes and then do the same thing but in purple for the stripes running down the eyes. Alright, done with the rosy cheeks, looking pretty good. Nice and thick. Now it's time to move on to the purple stripes running down the eyes. I didn't mention this before, but you should probably score a line with the Sharpie so you know where to paint if the pencil wasn't enough for you. Now just paint in the what's left of the stripes. Just fill in. You want to use a skinnier brush for this because you do not want you don't want to overdo it and make a mess. Just do it nice and slowly like this. And it should look perfect. And just as a little touch, I realized on my reference picture that I have, the purple goes into his mouth a little bit, or its mouth a little bit. So I'm just coloring in there, and I'm also coloring just right here very lightly. Nothing crazy. And whenever this dries, go get just repaint over it just to make it thicker. And you really want no white spots to be showing, as it looks much better whenever. Decided I wanted to do the lips just to keep it accurate with the game. Now this part's a little different. Do not do it in layers, just do it very lightly, like I'm doing it here, because one mess up, just do it very lightly. Oh yeah, and always draw it on the mask before you paint it, just to make sure it looks correct. Okay, now since the painting is done on the mask, we can start gluing. Now, just get your glue, and you want to put it right here on the mask, right in between the nose. But before that, you're going to have to cut out 2 pieces of black cloth, the eyes and for the mouth. But the reason why we're doing it in here first is so when the adhesive sets, we don't have to worry about getting vice grips and clamping it down, you know, like inside to keep it there. Because the adhesive will already keep it there, then all we'll have to do is just put a thin line of glue in there, and it'll just be fine. We finished gluing in the behind of the nose to the mask. You could get this piece of fabric for the mouth and cut it so it fits the bottom of the mouth here. Now, once the parts that you glued in here are all dried, you could start with gluing, like lifting up this part and gluing here, like putting some glue here and putting that down, and then putting some glue here and putting that down. Same with here, you know what you did, just put like a really thin, like right here, put like a really thin streak of your adhesive right here, and like a thin coat down here, because you don't want it to be too big. You could put a little more right here though, because that'll make it stronger, but seriously, right here and right here, you do not want to be, like, you don't want globs there, you do not want it to be a mess. It helps whenever you use a tool like this. Just like a plastic dowel or something to kind of move the glue where you want it. So, you know, you're not just shooting it right out of the bottle. And I know you're probably not getting any of these shots, so kind of like that would be doing it the correct way. It'll make a nice solid connection between the mouth fabric and the mask. And just lightly put it on. Using your thumb, kind of like just guide it. Kind of like. And plus, if you need glue in small places, don't use the bottle because you might get a little too much. So just put the stick near it, because like glue's probably going to be oozing out of it. Kind of like just put it where you want it. Thing is, you want to put on enough glue that's strong enough, but not too much glue, so then it will affect the other side, and it'll look bad. Like here's a good example. Then kind of like just push it down. Oh yeah, and when you push it down, kind of work on it from kind of try to push it back while you're doing it if any tries to seep towards the front, so you could like kind of prevent that from making a future mess. one's feeling strong. I think we're almost good here. Sorry, my mom's screaming up there. Alright, now do the same exact thing for around the eyes. Okay, now since we have it all glued in and the epoxy is set, we have to wait for it to cure now, because you can't. Now, right now, you cannot put it on because there are vapors that may still be on it, and you don't want to breathe those in. And if you do put it on before it's fully done curing and aired out, it is not my fault if you get sick. But whenever it is all aired out, which is mine is right now, this is the final result. This is the marionette mask. Now, but we still have one problem with it depending on what type of hair you have. My hair is sticking out on top of the mask. What I did to fix this issue, I got another piece of fabric, I cut it to sizing around my head, pretty much where this band ends, but just a little more, because you need enough to wrap it over so it looks uniform, or at least somewhat uniform. And that's pretty much it. And I don't think I really need to. Okay, well, what you do, you put this flat on your head, this part, facing towards your face, and this part, on the back of your head, and kind of like just set this over on top of your head, and then kind of like just wrap these parts in. It's really, really simple. I did this, you cannot see my hair popping up out of the mask. Plus, if you ask me, I think it makes it look a little bit more realistic with the puppet feature, but I'm not entirely sure if, like it's white all around the head or black. Not too sure about that. If you made it this far, thanks for watching, and this is the final project. It looks pretty nice. The only other thing I have to say about it, whenever you paint it, try to get a glossy red so it stays on better, or I mean it won't stay on better, it'll look better. And other than that, soon I'm coming out with a how to make a Jason mask tutorial part 2, which is a better version than the one I did last time, which is, I know the one I did last time was horrible. So I'm redoing it with some better techniques, weathering and stuff. So yeah, that'd be pretty great. And if you're making this for Halloween, yeah, this thing's great for trick-or-treating parties. Just be safe, And other than that, bye and see you next time.